As every Friday, I like to kick off the segment with Hot or Not with Go Local columnist Russ Moore, who I think is right around the corner.
Here I am.
Russ Moore.
What's going on?
Same bat time, same bat channel.
I'm here.
Here in the Navigant
Ready to rock and roll.
Ready to rock and roll and go over who's up, who's down here in Rhode Island.
That's right.
So I'm looking at the list, and let's talk about the hot list. Representative John Lombardi, you put hot.
Yes, someone has got to hold RIPTA accountable, and Representative Lombardi, or Judge Lombardi, or former councilman, former acting
A lot
mayor,
of titles.
whatever, the man of many titles, stepped forward, and he criticized the agency, which deserves criticism because it's been cutting, it got rid of a program that allowed disabled folks to ride for free. Yet, because it was crying poverty, the agency. At the same time, they've been paying millions in overtime. There were 20 people that made more than $100,000, bus drivers. So they mismanaged their overtime budget and they're crying poverty. So it really speaks to the fact that we need to get that authority under wraps.
He's been an outspoken critic and, as you said, an advocate for the most needy sort of in the state who have, again, were able to ride for free on limited budgets, and now we're looking at, they now have to pay, and we've been hearing a lot of folks from folks in the community, the soup kitchens, the community center, saying they're not seeing as many folks. Very concerned that people are having to make decisions about where to spend limited income and just aren't coming to get the services that they need. So,
right.
Representative Judge John Lombardi, for his work and his outspokenness.
Sure, for trying to hold their feet to the fire.
Put him on the hot list.
Absolutely.
Another person you have on the hot list is the governor this week. Why'd you have her on the hot list?
Governor Raimondo. I thought she had a good week in the news, especially considering that former Secretary of Education on a national level under President Obama, Arne Duncan, who's very well respected by people on both sides of the aisle, wrote a Mindsetter piece for Go Local Prov, in which he highlighted the governor's efforts to improve education in Rhode Island, funding all-day kindergarten, pre-K, school construction, and what's probably the most important thing that he endorsed is her program to provide free college tuition to Rhode Island graduates, which admittedly looks like it's a long shot to pass, given the Speaker of the House's opposition to it. But at the same time, that's a nice feather in your cap to have someone like Secretary Duncan come out and endorse your educational efforts. Thought that was a good week for her.
Yes, and as we love to tell folks, how you break down the hot or not list is, in that capsule of, how someone's performance was to get Arne Duncan to issue that level of support for the program here. You're putting the governor on the hot list.
Good week. It was a good week in the news.
Good week for the governor, says Russ Moore.
So good for her.
Let's go down the hot list here. Paul Dowdy, head of the Providence Firefighters Union, was just here this week talking with us.
And that's why I put him on the hot list, because as I was watching, he made some good points, particularly about Treasurer Seth Magaziner, who we're going to talk about in a few minutes. His idea that more local pension funds should join the state-run MERS program, Municipal Employee Retirement System. And Mr. Dowdy had a great point when he said that the city of Providence has a better rate of return over the last 5 years than the state of Rhode Island. So why would you want to get in with the state of Rhode Island and get a worse return? It makes no sense at all. So I give Mr. Dowdy credit for bringing that point up, and I don't know how you can argue with it.
It was a very interesting interview with Paul to raise the issues as the head of the Providence Firefighters Union, their perspective. Again, the legislation's just been put forth. I spoke with Council President Luis Aponte. They're waiting to hear back from the city, from the treasurer's office, from the auditor, to see just what the nuts and bolts are. But Paul came in. We had him in for two things. We wanted to talk about the gas leak at the Manchester Power Station. So nuts and bolts, the response on the street, and then he's like, "Hey, let's talk about the municipal. let's talk about MERS." And so he did. And so he raised some points. And as you said, the performance of the city outperforming the state. One of the big points that he raised and did say to the firefighters union is opposed to the city entering the statewide system. So keep an eye on that. And then we'll talk. I know
we'll be following that closely.
We'll be following that
Believe
closely.
Me.
Staying here in Providence, you have Chris Mayer and the Providence School Department on the hot list.
Absolutely. I saw where they opened up a school for refugees or people who are students who are coming from foreign countries where they're under serious threats, and they come to this country to avoid them. And they opened up a school, or Providence is opening up a school for those folks, and I thought that was a great idea and a good thing. So I wanted to give the superintendent some credit for that, because I haven't been shy about criticizing the superintendent when I didn't think he deserved credit, like previously when he let those students walk out. So just to be fair, I thought it was a good move, so I wanted to give Superintendent Marr a pat on the back.
And I think, we talked about this. You had on the hot list Nick Heemond with the
Sure.
school board.
Absolutely.
We talked about this. You put him on the hot list for the same reason, but just addressing the needs of those in the community that have the most needs and how the best go about doing
Right.
it. And you put him on the hot list
Absolutely.
for that reason here.
You got it.
Let's continue to go down the hot list. The Santa Files.
Yeah, the Santa Files. I think that's going to be a really cool movie. It's going to be. It's got a Rhode Island producer, Rhode Island director.
Tom
It's gonna be
Danucci.
filmed here. Absolutely. I look forward to its coming out. Next? Hopefully by Christmas time.
Ed Asner, yep, and
Yep, going to play the role.
Did you realize? I didn't know this. He had been the head of the Screen Actors Guild at one point in his career.
I did not know that.
I mean, real major Hollywood power broker from not just the Mary Tyler Moore show, but a storied career. Going to be here. Hopefully, we'll have the opportunity
Get him right in this.
to hopefully
room.
get him here. Maybe have Molly O'Brien talk with him on the lifestyle
sure we
side
will.
of things. People talk a lot about the movie business. Sometimes the movie tax credits, but when you can have a big production here, they put the release out this week. A lot of buzz about the movie being shot here,
Absolutely.
in Rhode Island,
And it got a lot of play on social media too.
got a lot
of people
of play
liked it.
on social media.
That's right.
So let's talk about last here on your hot list. This does not surprise me. I know Russ
Yeah.
Moore. I know your love for the horses.
That's right. Look, basketball season has come to an end. Congrats to North Carolina, of course. But it's time to move on, and horse racing season is really heating up. We've got some big prep races this weekend that give us a clear picture for who's going to be the favorite in the Kentucky Derby, or who are going to be the real contenders, and who are going to be the long shots. And it's a really exciting time, and we all know it's the most exciting 2 minutes in sports. So I'm really looking forward to see how the next month or next few weeks plays out as it sets us up for the first Saturday in May.
Where do you like to go? Where's your venue of choice for horse watching? Maybe a little wagering.
Yeah, let me criticize Twin River then, because the horse room at Twin River is kind of small. They've put a lot of their investments into table games and slot machines. So don't get mad at me, anyone in Rhode Island, but I like to go to Plain Ridge over in Plainville, Mass, because it's a little bit more comfortable to play the horses.
You'd like to see a little more space dedicated to playing the horses here in Rhode Island.
I'd like to see a lot more.
a lot more space dedicated
Yeah,
to,
let's not mince words.
to playing the ponies.
Yeah, a lot more. Yep.
Russ Moore always keeping an eye on the
Always
horses
candid,
there.
too.
Well, I mean, it's kind of analogous to the hot or not. I mean, it is keeping the score sheet, so to speak, of
Right.
who's hot, who's not.
And what's going on? Right?
And what's going on? Knowing the lay of the land, so to speak.
That's right.
So let's go to the not list here as I'm looking
Bow,
through.
bow, bow.
And I always make a point. I've made it recently. People ask, why do you have phones? Well, the notes are here. This is me going through literally the article on Go Local, so I have it at my
You
disposal
can't
here.
just memorize everything?
I probably could.
I'm only kidding.
Maybe.
No.
Thanks for putting me on the spot. I guess
I
puts me
was-
on the not hot list.
I was only kidding.